almost caught us unawares there. Very good evening. I'd forgotten that you were about to join us. We're having such a great time in the studio with two old favourites of the show. Well, less of the old, but favourites of the show. Realised this week that we put them together 3 years ago, and it was certainly one of the best received shows we've done. Favourites from both ends of this football city, and they're not alone either. They always say don't work with children and animals. Well, we've got both varieties here tonight, because we're all kids in the studio. Keith Edwards, John Pearson and myself. And we have an extra special. I bet you can't see it. Can you see her down there? That's Millie. Just how obedient she is. 5-year-old. I don't know what breed she is, Keith. What kind of dog is she?
It's a Patterdjack.
A what?
I know most people say that, but it's a cross between a Patterdale Terrier and a Jack Russell. Hence the reason why we get Patterdjack.
She's absolutely lovely.
Oh, she's
just like her owner.
I just
behaved.
refused to leave her in tonight, having been at work all day.
You've been driving?
So, yes, of course, yeah. Everybody knows what I do. Unlike John with his really good job and training people and everything. I was quite envious of all that, but yes, I do what I like to do as well, and that's what I.
You like driving?
I do. I like my job. It's great.
Okay, well, it's fantastic as well to see Millie. She's so well behaved. It's the first time we've had a dog live on this show. There's plenty of yap on this show, but it's the first time. But she yapped at me the first time.
I did pre-warn her. I said, you'll not like the presenter.
You'll not like the host, no.
No. I only have to say one word and she'll kill. So just go steady with your questioning.
I'm being very polite towards her at the moment, and she can come and sit over here if she wants to.
If you want to take that chance.
Yeah, plenty of football chat on the show. You know, you've been mates for years, and yet you only really were teammates for a season, weren't you? Or a year or so at Leeds United.
Mates is a bit strong.
Is that right? You were the classic sort of little and large, big man, small man partnership.
He was on the bench. He was watching me play when I went to Leeds. So, no, we did play a few games, and I nodded a few down that he tapped in from about 3 inches. You know, keeping that goal-scoring record going.
The goal-scoring record. We
don't need to go that far because he's enjoying it too much. We've spoke about that too.
It's a nice thought that a famous Sheffield Wednesday player, helped me along with that goal-scoring record.
Yeah,
really is a nice thought.
Isn't it?
And we used to travel in together. He's been a bit unkind, actually. We are good mates, and we used to travel in together. We used to have a lot of laughs. We should have played more games together, but overall, we still had a good time.
That was with Billy Bremner, was?
Yeah, Billy. Yeah,
Billy. So I know you
Billy.
really enjoyed working for Billy.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I was.
Billy was great. He was a great man.
Yeah, you did too, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great man. He was. Proper old-fashioned manager, and he was full of banter. And when we used to get on the coach and play cards with him, and I remember playing with Mickey Adams, and we were absolutely petrified. The first time we played, he was really, really serious. And if you put the wrong card down, you thought, "Oh, I'm dropped tomorrow now." He hates me, but he was absolutely fantastic. He was a brilliant bloke.
Good stuff. Well, let's start on the subject of goals, because England are knocking them in from all over the place at the moment.
Yeah.
7 against Montenegro and 4 against Atinu's Kosovo. How much play? I don't know whether the two of you have made a point of watching every England match over the years, or whether you've been like so many of us who've thought, well, I'd rather watch Coronation Street, But suddenly they're worth watching, Keith, aren't they? What do you think? You
should have maybe thrown that to John, because he said, yeah, he watches them all. I don't.
Right.
I've got to be honest with you. No, I don't. I don't like Mickey Mouse games. I know they have to be played and they have to get through and they have to qualify. I understand that, and they've done that with great panache in many respects. And of late, I like the manager. He speaks well. All very predictable what he has to say, but no, does it interest me? It will if we can get to a semi-final of the World Cup or something like that.
Okay, so it doesn't excite you too much. 7 against Montenegro, so what? But a few years ago, we were struggling to beat these teams, weren't we? Just grinding out 1-0s and.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think back when bigger teams play little teams, a lot of time they find that hard, don't they?
Break them down.
Wednesday have done that over the last couple of years. When we've played teams at the bottom, we've been accused of, not hammering home that advantage. England seem to have got a way of playing now, and I think Southgate is absolutely superb. I'm very patriotic. I love watching my country. I love watching Wednesday first. and then England are my second team. But
they are enjoyable to watch, Keith. Honestly,
oh, knocking goals in left, right, and centre. Having watched, I was more interested in watching Kane. Like he scores every time for England. Didn't get a kick against Sheffield United. Only mentioned Sheffield United. John started it off with mentioning Sheffield Wednesday.
Hey, we're gonna...
It is, and John makes a valid point. He is patriotic. So am I. I just don't find it as interesting as I did when I was younger. I would watch it all the time. It just hasn't got it for me at this moment in time. It's just, as I've got older, it's not so bothered. I love going down the lane. I love watching that because it means something. There's more interest in it for me there. But as for watching the national side, no, because I think football has changed that much recently. I mean, I was going to, I was sort of rehearsing in my head while I was out today. I had to ask John a question, like, I would love to play against these teams who just want to pass it around at the back all the time and pass it out from the goalkeeper to the left back to the right back to the goalkeeper and in your own box as well.
Yes. You'd be sniffing that one out, wouldn't you?
Well, there's a chance there, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's one of my hates. That playing out from the back. I think there's 3 or 4 teams in the world that can do it. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich, but not most. I mean, if you look at the Premier League clubs, I bet most of those. You just sit off them and let them pass it short and then pile into them and close them down. And okay, they might pass through you, but I mean, what's happened to play to your strengths?
Well, teams at all levels seem to try it. But Wednesday don't under Gary Monk. It's much more pragmatic.
They haven't under Gary Monk, but we did do last year, and I thought I felt sorry for some of the players who were obviously told that they had to play that way, and you could sense that they didn't want to play that way. I mean, pass, and it goes back to the goalkeeper, and he launches it. Well, you can organise a free kick, a set piece from a goal kick, and get everybody in certain areas But when it goes pass, and then he ends up just kicking it forward anyway, you lose the ball. I just don't understand
Defending is not a great strength in the game either at the moment. I reckon both of you would be rubbing your hands, wouldn't you, to be strikers in the modern game where the art of defending seems to be almost become forgotten.
Well, I mean, the top teams seem to now have midfield players playing at centre-half, don't they? They like ball-playing players, and if that's successful for that team, I wouldn't knock a team for doing that, but maybe a few crosses you might win a few headers, but nobody seems to play that way at the moment, do they?
They don't. No, they don't. Just before we move on, and we'll talk about the Blades and the Owls and the forthcoming games this weekend and going forward, Raheem Sterling and that incident with the confrontation in training and the Gareth Southgate acting very quickly, dropping him effectively for one match. Where do you stand on that? Because you've been in dressing rooms for years and years, and you know how, better than I would, how common it is to see that.
Well, for me, Southgate did brilliant. I thought he did brilliant. I thought everybody came out of it because he's made an example of the star player. So now he can, do what he wants. If this player down there, he'll go, but look what I did with Raheem Sterling. I made him miss a game. So he used him as an example, and Raheem Sterling has come out and gone. He's put his hands up. My fault entirely. So I think at the end of the day, they were playing. Who we were playing? I forgot the game.
That was Montenegro. That we scored 7 anyway.
Yeah,
so.
But he made an example of him, and that gives him more strength in the dressing room going forward.
Yeah, okay. I saw a lot of ex-pros say, "Hey, this used to happen every day." It's every day.
I don't think it happened every day.
Just move on, shake hands, and no actions. Where would you be on?
You've got 16, 20 odd pros. They're bound to fall out. We went through a stage under Jimmy Cyril, I remember that, and we played practice matches every day, which was ludicrous. Nobody had ever heard of it. We were all shocked. It was just a different team every day as well. So if you got the bib, you knew you were in the resis, and then if you didn't, you were in the first team. So there was a lot of arguing between players, and then when you had to have a practice match, you just felt that you were trying to get into the team on the Saturday, so you had to try your best. If Saturday come,
and there'd be some friction.
And there always was. You got
I think Neil Warnock did that as well when he took over to try and get the squad really competing.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, it doesn't suit everybody. I mean, I think certain players like to feel comfortable that they're actually going to be playing the following Saturday. And you can just get on with your training, and the good training can come out. But I totally agree with John. I think the manager smoothed it over beautifully, and so he should. But it was people made too much of it. They've had a fallout, end of.
Yeah. We all like to see goals in the game. There seem to be plenty of them at the moment. We will talk about VAR later and how that seems to be curbing goals and what an absolute nonsense a lot of it is, in my opinion, but I'll get yours. Meantime, plenty to look forward to for the Owls over the coming days. It's a long international break, but West Brom away, the leaders, and then Gary Monk's former team at home next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we played Leeds United. I thought that was going to be a massive test for us. Leeds United were flying at that moment. And I thought we were unlucky not to come out of that with 3 points. And then the Swansea game, another massive test. And again, we threw it away in the last 2 or 3 minutes. But the performances in those 2 games, I thought were excellent. Apart from probably the last 3 minutes in, obviously was a Blackburn and there were Swansea at home, 2 consecutive games where we should have been 5 points better off really. But the performances I thought were really good. If we take that kind of performance to West Brom on Saturday, I think that we are. I don't think there's a team that we aren't capable of winning before the game. So people say, "Would you take a draw?" And I'm going, "No, I wouldn't take a draw. Let's go and win." I think we can do, but it depends which Sheffield Wednesday turns up. The team that's played against Leeds, Swansea, or we've not had a bad season. I thought Lee Bullen did a great job early on in the season under difficult circumstances. But Gary Monk's come in, and I think he's done a really, really good job.
Very sound job. Leeds and West Brom, Leeds and Swansea, I agree, that's certainly the 2 best Sheffield Wednesday performances I've seen this season. Though they didn't score against Leeds, they were very creative and very, very, very dangerous, and should have scored more against Swansea. You're both, apart from the similarity, Keith, that you both played for Leeds United, and at the same time, you both have become, and have been for many years now, pundits, co-commentators, you for Radio Sheffield and you for Wednesday Player. Is that something that you naturally sort of fitted into? Is it now sort of almost second nature?
Second nature for me. I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah. How long is it now?
20 odd years, I think. It's I can go back to Howard Kendall days when we got beat off Burnley in the playoff, I think it was 1-0. So yeah, it's a long time. I enjoy it. Do I enjoy all the travelling? No, because I do enough travelling through the week. But yeah, it's good. It's fun being still in with the players, and thankfully on this occasion I'm getting on really well with the manager, who's doing absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, you haven't always, have you? You haven't always.
No. I blame them, not me. But there's a shot. I speak what I see, and basically, if I think they've played rubbish, I don't have a problem of saying, "Well, today we were off. Today we haven't played," and him in particular has been awful.
Yeah.
But that's nothing personal. It's just maybe that's my age group where people accepted that in my day.
Yeah.
And didn't really worry too much about that.
As a player yourself,
some people are very sensitive.
Yeah, as a player yourself, did you accept? I don't think I ever criticised you at all, but back
I
in the
didn't
day,
criticise myself either. I think I had one bad game, 1979.
I was in training, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
you did get a little bit of stick occasionally, but it always comes. I know how much you hate the term work rate, and your goals. Well, according to your book that you wrote with Andy Pack, you scored 166 league and cup goals.
Was that in one season? That's the book that you wrote.
That was in two spells for Sheffield United, 166. So work rate can kind of disappear.
Well, yeah,
somewhere, can't it?
I got it from a very early stage. You have to understand, I got it very early stage when, in effect, when I got into the game, when we were in the big league in 1975, I didn't know where to run, who to close down, and really didn't know what to do, because I made it so quickly. From a 3-month trial, all of a sudden I found myself in the first team. That was the year we were going down, so I did struggle a little bit, and I wasn't conscious of having to run over to the fullback and what have you. But my dad gave me one little tip once. He says, when he kept on hearing people say, "Well, he's lazy," he says, "Well, if he's lazy, there must be an awful lot of lazy centre halves around, because they can't stop him from scoring."
No.
And I just think it's overrated. I think people play on it too much. I think, I watch people like Billy Sharp now. And looking at people like Billy Sharp, I do feel lazy, because he works a lot harder. Looking at the 2 lads up front for Arsenal when we beat them 1-0, My word, I was shocked because obviously, like John mostly does when he's doing it, I look at the strikers a little bit more intense about what they're actually doing, and I watched them two strikers just stroll across 10 yards that way, 10 yards that way, and that was back to the centre halves just playing around with the ball.
Yeah.
So therefore, for me, for 10 minutes they weren't doing anything. No. When you've got to remember, when we played, my strength, and John's already mentioned that, and I totally agree with what he was saying earlier, you've got to play to people's strengths. Otherwise, you just move on. Maybe that's why we had a few clubs between us. My strength was playing over the top and running. You know, people talk about Vardy now. I mean, he's having a field day for me, based on the fact that they're just keeping the ball and they're giving him a sniff all the time. So he's having to work and rattle around and chase that ball that nobody wants to chase. Yeah. And for me, I was shocked. And you're talking about Arsenal players. You're talking about 64 million, and is the other one 50 odd million or 70 odd million? I don't know. I was shocked at how poor they were.
And you know, however good Sheffield United were, brilliant. I know you were at Tottenham.
Yeah,
the 1-1 draw. When I look at that 23-pass move for the Sheffield United goal, there wasn't a Spurs player within 5 yards of any United player who was on the ball in that. Well, unbelievable.
Sheffield United at this moment in time are most probably the best they've ever been. It's the best football I've ever seen in my time. Yeah. I've always defended the Tony Curry time when they were in the big league. I always defend that because there was an awful lot of good players from them. But these players, and I do respect that we got up there with Bassett and with Neil Warnock, but I just feel as if this team has got so much energy and togetherness. I just feel that the Premiership will suit it because of the way they play. Because there's too many. Everybody raved about Norwich, rightly so, when they won the league last year. And they thought, well, they'll go into the Premiership, it'll be a breeze for them. And I think they play too much like teams like Arsenal, and John's touched on it about, you know, like Barcelona, who like to play it out from the back. One or two are getting caught out now.
You think United are the hardest working team in the Premier League?
Yeah, I've never seen fullbacks, and I was never one for. It was different nowadays, wasn't it? To be fair, you know, I wasn't so keen on fullbacks charging forwards and getting crosses in because I always thought they were rubbish crosses. I would prefer Colin Morris to have it.
Yeah, but I mean, when I'm thinking back to the similarities when Howard Wilkinson's team got promoted. Yeah. And we played three at the back, and we got Mel Sterling and Nigel Worthington who put in decent crosses, you know. And we were the hardest working team, without a doubt, in both divisions. And we finished fifth in the first division, first season back. And I thought, you know, the last couple of years, I thought, there's no way anybody's going to break into that top six. And look what's happened.
No, we do work hard. It's the hardest working team I've ever seen. Full-backs and centre-halves will just push forward with no fear whatsoever.
And
somebody will either be covering
they deliver good crosses as
well.
well.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. The back three and then make it a back five, plus the goalkeeper, have made such a difference. It's unreal. And I questioned the 4 million signing Egan. Because I thought, that seems a lot of money. And I remember him at Brentford and whatever. I thought, well, yes, he's quite a good player. That guy has got better and better as we've gone up. And we've gone up another level. And it just seems to, he's just improved his game immensely. What Chris says and what Alan Nill do for him, God only knows, because he's absolutely stunning. All three of them are, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, it's the saying, isn't it? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
You know, and that's your teams like Arsenal and Tottenham up to now. You know, they've been on a laser. They don't do the running now.
They give you a chance, and it's the style of play. And I looked at that game and I thought, one team wants it, and the other team's coming out for another Saturday afternoon at Tottenham. And that's how it felt.
That's a great saying, by the way. I detect Howard Wilkinson in that.
Oh, we had all sorts of sayings.
Is that Wilco saying?
Yeah. Hard work, not the size of the dog in the fight, size of the fight in the dog.
Great stuff.
See, I would know all them, but whenever we were ever doing a team talk, I didn't listen.
Success is only a matter of luck. Ask any failure. That was another one, wasn't it? 5-minute break and then more from Keith Edwards, from John Pearson, and if we're lucky, from Millie down there. Do rejoin us in 5. See you then.